Good morning, everybody. How are we today? Are we fired up? Thank you, Ray. Hi, Leanne. It is 10X day, so we better be fired up. This is going to be an exciting day. Some of you I see every week on Catalyst. Some of you might be here for the very first time. Um, Before I ask you to put anything in the chat, Laura, will you put the workbook in the chat right at the top? Because it'll be easy for everybody to scan up to the top and grab the workbook when we're ready for that segment of the call. I just want to acknowledge all of you for being here. If you taking time away from your business on a Thursday in spring buying season, it means that you're really serious about your life and designing success that is meaningful to you, not going by the herd, not standing in the corner wondering what you think others think you should do, but that you are wanting to carve your own path. And I just want you to know you're my kind of people. It's why I love the rhinoceros, because the rhinoceros has got thick skin. It's got a horn on the front. It's ready to charge forward towards goals, but that it's willing to go out on its own in the jungle and create a life and carve a path that is uniquely its own. And I want to hang around people like that my whole life. I want to be surrounded by people that are curious, that are courageous, that are excited about their life, that believe in limitless and believe in capability and possibility and want to be around people like that. And so you might be here today because you crave that. You're also maybe looking for your people. I just talked to a gal yesterday for the podcast. You guys are going to love this episode coming up. And she was like, I just don't always feel like I fit in. I don't feel like I'm around people that want what I want, that think the way I think, that do what I do. And I'm like, girl, I know what it's like to be a misfit in other places in the world. I feel like that often. But here, when you come into this Zoom room, when you come hang out with me, when you're on this team, when you're in Catalyst, I hope that no matter how driven you feel, how much desire you feel, how frustrated you are, whatever you want to create, you feel like you are not the weirdo in this group, that you are a misfit fitting in here. So thank you for being that type of person who wants an extraordinary life, and I'll take the time. I want to know in the chat, what comes up for you though when you think about 10x? Like honestly, from where you're sitting right now, and I say, all right, guys, we're going to talk about discovering your 10x future. Is it overwhelm? Is it excitement? Is it fear? Does it make you feel trepidation? Are you scared? Do you get confused? Do you feel like, oh, I don't know. What would be a way to describe? Put it in the chat. What comes up with you from where you're at today, thinking about creating your next 10x? And when you think about the words 10x, what comes up? Oh, it all loaded at once for me. Zoom is being a little weird. Am I coming through okay, Tina? Yeah? Okay. All right. Well, just dumped like 50 chats on me at once. Excitement, then the word impossible. Thank you, Vicky. That is so honest. I feel that. Curious, stomach knots, excited, but how? Yes, Amanda Mock. So freaking pumped. I think about how to get that kind of support to make it possible. That is a really big number. Okay. So you're thinking about in terms of a number. Excited, but confused, wondering how that's possible. All right. I got to tell you, for me, when I picked up this book, 10X is easier than 2X, in the summer of 2024, I did not want to read this. Okay. It was an assignment by my coach at the time. And I had a 3-week deadline to get the book read. And I kept waiting and waiting. And the minute I cracked into it, I started realizing that this was going to be a whole different journey. And it was actually exactly what I needed. But I had hit a place of burnout and I was like, 10X. Like I already feel like I've been grinding towards 10Xs or whatever the case might be. And so today I'm really excited to define what it is. And then I'm really excited to help take you on a journey to discover what it is for you. Because the truth is that your 10X vision is not out there. It is within you. It's already there. It is often the desires that we've not allowed ourselves to have because we've been worried about what others would think, or if it's appropriate, or if it's too outlandish, or how it would crush us, or if we have enough support right now, or if we have the team, or if we're good enough. And so we're going to drop all the hows on this call today. We're not going to worry about how exactly we're going to get there. What we're going to do is tap into desire, to get in touch with our own hearts. Because when we start living our lives through our hearts and what's actually meaningful to us, that's when you meet a person who's on fire. That's when you meet a person who's got the clarity on this is a hell yes and this is a no. This is where I double down. This is my unique ability. This is the 20% that makes a difference. With that kind of vision intact, you can be pulled forward by what matters to you. So I want you to quickly take out a piece of paper. Hopefully you've got stuff to take notes. And then we're also going to work in a fillable PDF workbook, but we're not there yet. So on just a white piece of paper, you're going to draw 3 boxes, okay? And some of you have been around me for a while. Remember this exercise. I'm bringing it back. Okay, so it's just going to look like this. You're going to draw 3 boxes, okay? Above the first box,
Shay, we can't hear you.
there we go. Okay, I think I need to be a co-host to unmute myself. Okay, so drifting in box number 1. Box number 2, driven. And box number 3, directed. Okay, so what does it mean to be drifting? What does that kind of look like? What are some adjectives that you would use to describe drifting? You can put them in the chat if you want. And I'm writing this underneath the box, but I put lost, confused, stuck, unfocused, distracted, numb, bored, directionless, pulled away, frozen. I feel frozen when I am drifting. That indecisiveness, right? All right, driven. What does it look like to be driven? I put hyper-focused, competitive, passionate, okay, motivated. All right, we all know what that feels like to be driven, like, oh, I'm just going to do it. Finally, what about directed? What does it feel to be directed? I use the word guided, surrendered to an authority or a plan, but surrendered, supported, purposeful. Okay, if I'm being directed forward in my life, what does that look like? So the net result of drifting is often hit and miss results. It's often a lack of confidence. It's being stuck in procrastination, paralysis of analysis, second guessing ourselves. Would you guys all agree? How many, by raise of hands, have spent some of your life or some of this week in the drifting box? Honestly, we come in and out of this box, don't we? Right? It's hard. It sucks. It doesn't feel good when we get into drifting. Driven, the net result of driven can often feel like gripping, force, control, chaos, a lack of balance. See, the times in my life where I've been just so driven, often I'm so hyper focused that I'm pursuing one thing to the detriment of everything else. Okay. Now, Is it good or bad? We're not going to judge, but it's just where we're at, right? And I often, when I am driven and being driven by a fuel that can be negative, I can be driven because all of a sudden I get very fearful. I'm behind. I'm becoming irrelevant. I'm not good enough. This isn't a good enough. I got to compete. Someone's gaining an edge on me. It's all that pressure talk in my head to whip myself to keep my ass in gear. How many of you guys can relate to this being driven? Now, it's wonderful to be driven, but it can also cause feelings of burnout and all kinds of things because it's often a negative fuel. It's an external thing that we're dealing with, it's a chip on our shoulder. Directed, in my opinion, is when we are clear and abundant. It's when I still feel extremely passionate, energized, driven, go getter in my life. But it's coming from a place of being guided. It's coming internally versus externally. It's coming by way of not controlling and forcing, but by trusting and allowing. Matt Labazada spoke on the main stage at our guild event 2 weeks ago, and he talked about being an open system where you're able to receive, you're able to flow, you're able to stay open to life, open-hearted, open-minded, being willing, being coachable, to being closed, to trying to control and grip and hold on to every single thing because we're a fear of loss or fear of failure. So my hope in helping you with this 10X vision, in inviting you to be coached in Catalyst or coached wherever you're coached, is that we can all move more towards being directed in our life, of plugging into that positive fuel source of love and abundance and what's possible versus a feeling that we're not good enough, we're not worthy, we've got to grind, we've got to push, because the net effect is still hard work. It's still doing whatever it takes. But because the fuel source is different, it feels different. Is this connecting? Cool. To finish off this drifting, driven, directed, I'd like you to put what percentage you are in each box right now. So over the last 30 days, what percent have you been directed, open system, feeling abundant? You have an inner coach happening within you. You're being coachable. You're being guided. You're following a plan. How much of it have you been driven? You're whipping yourself, you're pushing, you're, doing that stuff. You're singularly focused. And how much have you been directed? Is it 33, 33, 33? Is it 10, 80, 10? Is it 0, 60, 40? Where are you at? Zenon said 50% driven, 50% directed. 75, 5, and 20. Thank you, Luke. That's vulnerable. Yeah. 60, 30, 10. Yes, Nicole, I know it depends on the day. And we are salespeople, aren't we? So my hope and goal for what we are doing today is to help you get so clear, so much fire around what is it that you really, really want for you because you want it, and no justification needed, is that you can become more directed. You can then align to a simple plan and be directed by your plan and not fight and negotiate with yourself on your own standards. Because you have this life that you want to build, this limitless, abundant future you want to create. And you're not going to keep pulling yourself into the drifting and rebellion and doing the things that are self-sabotaging. Okay. And as a coach, as a performance coach and in Catalyst, this is what I'm constantly trying to do is say, I have the tools, I have the plan. Trust me. Let me guide you. Let me guide you. So today, I hope that you will be all in on being guided. And before I pull up my slide presentation, I'm going to make a fun ask. I just came up with this idea this morning, which my team loves when I come up with big ideas in the morning. But if you have Instagram on your phone, and if this can take you less than a minute, I would love you to go to at ShayGiff. That's my Instagram, ShayGiff, and DM me, send me a message. I just pull myself up. How do you actually just go DM somebody? I guess you have to go into your DMs. Geez, now I feel like a newbie. Go follow me and then go into your DMs and write me a little DM. Okay. I know many of you are already friends with me on social, but I want you to send me the word Nashville to my DMs. And I am going to do a little raffle at the end of this call for a big prize. And I already see Lacey's coming in, Mortgage Crump's coming in, Bridget's coming in. All right, Mike Sacanini's coming in. You guys apparently know how to direct message people on social because I do not know how to do this. Dino Rossetti, Bill Gaylord, Katie Stockert. Oh my gosh. What's up, Jack? Hey, Zach. Hey, Matt. Anna Bobino. Okay. So send me a DM that just says Nashville. I want to be able to connect with you. I'll send you something fun later, but then I'm going to scroll through here and I'm going to pick a winner at the end of the call. Is that cool? And look at Laura dropped in here. If you want to follow a link and do it on your desktop, you can. You guys are so fun. Hi. Hi, Frank. Hi, Amanda Mock. Now I'm going to find you all on social. Now we're going to be friends. Okay. So before we get going, and now that I've got 186 of you live on this call, I'd like you to go to the very top of the chat. Okay. Take the little scroll button and scroll all the way up. And there is the fillable 10X handout. Okay. There's a PDF there. If you hover over it, there's a little arrow, down arrow, and you can click to download it. I'd like you to download this fillable PDF on your desktop because that's what we'll be working with. Oh, and Laura put it at the bottom of the chat too. Gosh dang, you're good, Laura. Woo! All right. When you've got your Nikki, the PDF is right above your chat in the thread. It should say it's a PDF. Gwen Music, I'll look for you on Instagram. All right. When you've got your workbook open, downloaded, can you please put in the chat, you got it, you're ready, let's 10X, whatever the hell you want to say. Give me something good. See, I told you these are the people that are courageous and curious and 10X and fired up. You're my crazy people. I love you. This is why I love what I do. This is my higher purpose in mortgage is to just take the 300 million people in this country and narrow it down to the people that are like my people, where I'm no longer the weirdo. We are all weirdos together. So thank you for being here. We're ready to rock. So let me go ahead and share my slide. Let me teach you 10X first before we attack the workbook, okay? Oh, that's not going to do it. Okay, hang on. I think you guys are breaking my computer. You know that today? All right, we're live. You guys are seeing my slide presentation in 3, 2, 1. We're live? We're ready? All right. Okay, for those of you I've never met yet, my name is Shayla Gifford. I'm 45 years old. I live in Reno, Nevada. I'm a wife and mom to two teenage daughters. Gemma's 15 and Gwen is 12. I've been a loan officer for 22 years. I've been at Guild Mortgage for 16 of those 22 years. I still work with the Gifford team, who's this beautiful team over here to the right. I love these guys, still in the game, still talking to builders, figuring out cool solutions, working on non-QM products in the weeds and loving it. I lead a district at Guild Mortgage. We call ourselves the Legacy District. We have a goal to do $1 billion in our Legacy District this year and add 6 new teammates. We're about 40 loan officers strong. And then I've grown a national team at Guild Mortgage that has a total of 80 of us. So we call it Team Shayla. And I'm just collecting all those crazy, driven, desperate, hungry 10X people. And then I created Catalyst, and Catalyst is my coaching company that we'll talk about on this call. I love to ski. I love to hike. I love to bike ride. I like to walk. I like reading sexy fiction. Um, I like studying and learning everything there is to learn about personal growth and personality profiles. I'm currently way into human design. So enough about me. This has been my 22-year career in mortgage. And I think it's relevant for all of you loan officers to say, can Shayla relate to where I'm at? And is it possible for me to get out of this drifting box and get to my next 10x? So I hope so. I think I'm relevant. I think I'm highly capable to teach you and help you. But here's not how my journey went. The first 6 years of my career, I didn't have any coaching. I didn't have any great mentors or management. I was super driven and hardworking, always have been. And I got myself to about 300 grand a year in income, but I was stuck and I was plateaued and I was working maximum amount of hours. And I was kind of embarrassed by how much of a workaholic I was, but I didn't know how to change things. I would call myself a rugged individualist at that stage. I didn't trust other people. I didn't delegate. I didn't know how to build a team. So I was just winning through determination and personality. The next 10 years is when I got coached and I said, I want to be guided. Just guide me. I'm so tired of coming up with my own ideas, and my own ideas are only taking me so far. Give me systems, give me structure, help me out. And that's what started in 2010. I hired my first assistant, then I hired two loan officers, then three the next year, then three the next year. I had two babies at this time. And then I grew my production up to $130 million in that time frame. Our branch grew to $1 billion branch. We won branch of the year. I was a national core coach for 6 of those years. And at the end of the 10-year cycle, we hit 1 billion and 15 of our loan officers made it to President's Club. Super proud of that time, but I can tell you I got there all through 2x grinding. And at the end of 10 years, I was burned out. I was a chaotic brain maker. I was pretty directed, but also extremely driven and chaotic. So the next couple years over COVID, I moved to Spain with my family. I worked at night, which was amazing for life balance. I woke up in the morning and I didn't have any emails to get back to or anybody to talk to because everyone in the United States was sleeping. I got my health back in check. I worked on my adrenal fatigue and failure. I got my immune system and nervous system back in line. My team blew up because obviously COVID happened. We did over $230 million in production, the highest year. My branches blew up. We did 1.6 billion in production, and I was able to travel the world. It was a really fun time. I don't even know how to name those years, except I got to exhale for a second. The last 3 years, as we've all been going through, has been interesting. So I, as a leader, said, if I'm going to be in this game, I want to find my fire again. I don't want to be a grumpy has-been. I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. I want to find what's going to fuel me and have sustained success because I'm still young. I still like my kids are still in school a long time. Like I want to do this and have fun doing it. So I set a mission to get our personal production team back over 100 million, and we did that last year. My branch fell all the way down to 450 million, and so we're growing it back up to $1 billion. We'll hit it this year. I got certified in reinvention coaching. I literally needed to reinvent myself and to start confronting those limits that were holding me back, those limiting beliefs, that negative fuel, and start finding a way to be different in the world. And then I started growing a national team and spreading my leadership nationally to help more people in our industry. My goal now is 25 people to President's Club this year. And I started Catalyst. And so I'm now working on my 10x of being a transformational leader. So, what is 10x? Going 10x means living the most intrinsic. What does intrinsic mean? It means being directed internally versus externally. Having your internal scorecard be the thing that you measure against instead of measuring against other people and comparing and all those other ways that we try to get external validation. So it's the most intrinsic and exciting future you can imagine. The book that inspired me was this book. I highly recommend you read it, if not read it again. I'm literally on my 5th go around. It's written so well, and this concept is so un-American that I think being able to buy in and understand and really live it takes some deep study. I really do. So what is 10x and why is it widely misunderstood? 10x in this context, and as Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan talk about it, is it's qualitative, meaning it's about quality. It's not just quantitative. Now, while 10x could mean you are literally 10 timesing your income or 10 timesing your volume or 10 timesing your charitable donations, that's the easiest way to understand it is take a number and multiply it by 10. It could be that. The essence of 10x is more about the qualitative shift that happens. So most people set 2x goals. 2x is linear. So it means doing more of the same, just faster and harder. It's defeating and soul crushing because it says just put the pedal to the metal, man, just grind away for inches of progress. Now, 2x is focused on brute force. It's not based on higher intelligence or leverage. And 2x has unlimited options for growth. And often, because you have unlimited options, it causes confusion and overwhelm. So most have it backward and struggle manifesting a 10x because they're stuck in a 2x mindset. Okay. So what is 10x? 10x goals are so robust and seemingly impossible that it forces you out of your current mindset and approach. 10x is the vehicle for transforming yourself and your life. It's a journey that peels away the onion and helps you discover the essence of yourself by letting go of your former self and transforming into your truest self. Committing to a 10x life vision transforms you and frees you. That's ultimately what we're about today is freedom. This is what we're going for. So there's two kinds of freedom. There's freedom from, I want to get freedom from ignorance, from toxicity, from poverty, from negativity, from slavery, from a bad relationship. So that's freedom from. The opposite is freedom to, being driven to the abundance, being pulled forward. And this is the freedom to pursue what you choose to pursue, wanting what you want. So what's required to 10x? Number one, you must take full ownership over your life. You've got to sit in the car and grab the steering wheel of your own life and be willing to drive your own car and kick the person out of the passenger seat and tune your own GPS. And you must be totally committed and continually courageous, committed and courageous to stay on 10x. You choose your standard and you live by that standard regardless of the associated risks or costs. Meaning, regardless of what people think about the fact that you're not drinking or that you're working on Saturdays or that whatever the heck it is, like you decide what your standards are that align to your 10x, and then you commit and go all in on those. And then 10x becomes the filter for everything you do. It becomes the decision filter. Is this in alignment with the person I'm becoming, with the transformation I seek, with the 10x of my going or not? And if not, then it's a no or a no, thank you. So 10x is about abundance. When we say I need something, we are playing from scarcity. I hear people say all the time, I need support. I need this. I need this. I need this. And how does it feel when we say that? It can feel needy. It can feel weak. It can feel whiny. The opposite would say, I want to build something. I want something. I want it because I want it because I want it. When you say I want, now you're playing from abundance. So how will you pursue 10x? Number one, you must let go of everything that is not 10x. You've got to strip away everything that is not your highest purpose. We got to eliminate the noise. Your 10x future self will be different than you are now. You will have freedoms you can't presently imagine now or even fathom. So we're going to start exploring this 10x future. And this is where you want to have your workbook. I know we might have had a couple people join a little late. Jules said Shay got her groove back. Yes, I did. And it took me a little while. So if you are in burnout land and you are in I've hit all my 10X's, and what's next for me? I've been there. That's how this whole thing started, was because some of the traps in life are actually being successful because you get stuck in a success trap. Are you with me? So I'm going to go ahead and open the workbook. I've got the one of my own that I've already started to fill out, but I'm going to walk you guys through a blank one here. Okay. So one more time, you can find the workbook in the chat. I hope you've downloaded it and you can work with me on it. So before we get into this, I want to get you in a state of gratitude because it's physically impossible to be in a worrisome, anxious state if you can get into your heart and into gratitude. So I'm going to ask you to take a full minute. I'm going to set my timer and write everything that you're grateful of the life you enjoy today. Why are you grateful for the life you enjoy today? Go ahead, 60 seconds. Come up with as much as you can to fill that box. In the chat, how do you feel after doing that for 60 seconds? Glorious. I cried. Thank you. Alive, uplifted, blessed, happy, almost cried, content, liberated. My goal as a coach and all the frameworks that I teach and everything that I bring to Catalyst is to teach you little hacks like this, guiding you through 60 seconds of gratitude. If it made you feel all of those things, how often can we in the course of our day go, pause? I'm feeling like I'm drifting. I'm getting into stinking thinking. I'm sounding like a victim. I'm overwhelmed, and just break out a piece of paper and go for 60 seconds on your timer. That it's a shift, right? So thank you for doing that. The next thing I'm going to have you do in this workbook is to write out the 3 most important roles you play in your life. Type them into box 1, 2, and 3. What are the 3 most important roles? It could be mother, father, best friend, sister, brother, leader, salesperson, community leader. Just name the 3 roles. Laura or Auberry, Taryn's looking for the workbook one more time in the chat. Okay, and then underneath these 3 roles, you're going to list 3 adjectives that describe you in this role from the perspective of the other people that you serve. For example, my number 1 role was mother. So I want you to put on the hat of your children if you put a parent role there. And how would they describe you? I put wife. How would Galen describe me? What adjectives? How do I show up in that role? And moving on to the second, Austin, we're being very honest. I'm teaching you how to do a reality check. And then third, what are three adjectives? Maybe you had one in business. How would your partners or clients or teammates, what adjectives would they use to describe you? What did you find in doing this exercise? I will share with you the first time I did this, I was living in a shitstorm of being driven. My business was growing incredibly. Everybody would want to put me on stage and clap and say, oh my gosh, wow, wow, wow. And yet, when I wrote this out and I thought about my kids, it was distracted, stressed out, grumpy. I'm sure they might say, Mom, but I don't think it would have been fun, patient, loving, silly. My husband might have been a little more positive, like doing her best. All right. So the next section is to now start looking at my four domains. So I teach um, being on fire because in Catalyst, I really focus on not being one dimensional, not being so hyper focused at the detriment of everything else in our life, but to really have a vision for what does it look like to be on fire? FIRE. F is your fitness, I is your impact, R is your relationships, and E is your enlightenment. Okay. So, what would it look like to 10x your fitness, your energy levels, your strength, your stamina, your lab work, your sleep, maybe the amount of weight you're lifting? Like, what might that look like? Does it have to be exactly numbers based? No, remember, it's a qualitative shift that you could look back and go, wow, that was a 10x leap. How would you define it? Okay, now on impact. I am going to make you write numbers because I want you to really get the gut punch of what this can feel like. So I want you to take and put your highest income over the last 2 or 3 years. Just write it down, type it in there, and then put a couple space bars over, and then give me 10x that number. So if your highest income in the last 2 years is $280,000, which it was for someone I talked to yesterday, you're going to put 2.8 million. Why? Why did I make you do that? Because the question then becomes, who do you need to become? How do you need to transform? Where do you need to focus to be that guy or that girl? And see, this is when all of a sudden we get creative thinking. We think differently. Because to go from 280 to 380 or 280 to 500, it's really easy to just think 2x. More, 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 grind, grind, grind. But to go 10x, you've got to think entirely differently. And it's creative and it's abundant. And yes, it can be, whew, that's like scary. I don't know. Whoa, because it's shocking to the brain. We don't think this way. Put your estimated net worth down. What do you have in liquid assets, retirement funds, stocks, bonds, savings, checking? Give me 10x that number. How many customers are you serving a year? Give me 10x that number. Now, realize that what we're doing here is an exploration. This is not a commitment. This is not saying this is what you're going to go after. You might be done with the impact box of your life in a career sense. Okay. And you're going to be focusing on 10xing your fitness for the first time in 30 years. But since you are in a business, I want you to start thinking, what would that look like? Who would you have to become? How would you have to evolve? Who would you serve? Okay, now relationships. This one's tricky. How do you 10x your marriage? How do you 10x a relationship with the people that matter most to you? Your best friend, your children, your team. Maybe those are some of the adjectives above for me that go from intense, serious to playful, easygoing. Because I happen to believe that I can be both and now. I can be kick-ass Shayla on a billion-dollar mission, and I can be playful and silly and dancing around. Before, I was thought it was only one. Because if I'm driven, I have to be intense and focused and beat the boys and keep up and compete. So 10x for me is about widening the lens and being the both and. All right, finally, what does 10x look like on your well-being, your enlightenment? How would you describe your ability to enjoy your life, to have pleasure, to have peace, to have play, to have trust in yourself, trust in your higher power, trust in your team? All right, when you've gotten all four of those complete, please put on fire in the chat. Fantastic. One more time. If you're complete with this section, I don't want to move on until we've gotten this. Put on fire in the chat. Okay. I have 182 of you on this call. I want to make sure I don't leave anyone behind. All right. So one of the ways to determine, whoopsies, how to do a 10x is to actually look back and realize that you've had many 10x jumps already in your life. So this was an exercise I did in Catalyst quite a while back. I went through and said, what were the 10x's I had in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s? I even did my younger childhood because I was having 10x's by the time I was about 12, as you all were. So in my 20s, I quit network marketing. I moved home and I started the mortgage business. I came home with like $1,000 to my name, tail between my legs. I had dropped out of college and I got in the mortgage business. I had a career change. That was a 10x. Between 2004 and 2007, I reestablished myself as a professional. I built a career and I had a $300,000 income. Complete transformation of who I was, right? I went from a mediocre boyfriend to Galen, my husband. And then I went from a rugged individualist and a workaholic to a surrendered coaching student and the top producer into a leader. And you guys get my point. So part of this was thinking about, well, what was the catalyst for these 10x leaps? And I want you guys to think about this. The reason I created this company and named it Catalyst is because things happen in our life, and either a catalyst happens to us or we decide that something will become a catalyst. We don't have to wait until breakdown, stress, desire, like all those things. We can actually come to a call like this, go to an event, be around people, and go, you know what? Now is the time. I'm deciding. And so for me, I reflected, I felt stale. I felt like a failure. I felt unhappy. I felt like I was plateaued. This other one was I felt passion and enthusiasm. Sometimes I was suffering and dissatisfied. I was losing and grumpy. So sometimes my catalyst came out of pain and sometimes it came out of desire. Are you following me? But both are really powerful as long as we then propel ourselves forward and then figure out what it is that we do with that. So the other part about 10x is really figuring out what is the 20% that cause the 10x. What focus, what strategy, what skill, and then what do we have to let go of? What is the 80% of noise, the behaviors, the attitudes, the mindsets that would keep us stuck in 2x thinking? So now that I've given you an example, you're going to chart 2 of your previous 10x's. So thinking about your 20s, for example, and you could even just say, look, if you made $280,000 last year, when was a time that you made 1/10 of that? They're guaranteed there was a time where you made $28,000 a year. And when you were making $28,000 a year, and I said, someday you're going to make 280, you would have been like, there's no freaking way. I can't even imagine. I can't fathom. I don't know how. Like, what would I do? That's the beauty of 10x. So you can think about this literally and chart that out. And then think about, how did I grow from that $28,000 20 something to the person I am now? What was the 20%? What worked? What was I leveraging? And then what did I have to let go of? So maybe box number 1, play with the income example because it's easier. Katie Stockard, I love this comment. I paid more in taxes last year than I made my first 2 years in the industry. 10x, baby. Yes. Yes. So you're going to describe the 10x. And then what was the timeline? Did the 10x happen in the course of a year? Did it happen in the course of 10 years? Did it happen in the course of 5 years? And then what was the 20%? What do you think made the difference? Not all the things, the key things that really drove the change. And then what'd you have to let go of? Part of 10xing is shedding the former self to get to the truest self, the most intrinsic, powerful, the essence of who we are. Anybody ever change friend groups in high school? Go out for the team and make the team that you never were supposed to get? Put yourself in a position you were completely unqualified before and then fake it till you make it and figure it out? Transform your insecurity or your fear of speaking. I love these. Yeah, if you're willing to share what you went from and to, I appreciate that. Carrie, I went from a personal banker to a loan officer. I had to let go of the fear of living on commission only. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Emily, parenthood is a forced 10x. Overnight, here you go. You're going to transform. You're going to evolve, whether you like it or not. Fake it to make it. Absolutely. Elizabeth, I wanted something different, tired of being on someone else's watch, dependent on shitty standards when unqualified people act like gods. So your catalyst was frustration and desire and annoyance. That's good to know. So when those feelings come up, you can go, ooh, this is a catalyst for change. This is what's going to drive me forward into my next 10x. How exciting that I'm feeling this way. Isn't that a different way to feel about it? Finding my confidence. Now some think I'm just too confident. Daniel, you rock it. You're not too confident for this group. See, you fit in right here just fine. David said, I had to let go of fear of rejection. Yes. Same. I went from a 9 to 5 processor to a commission only in sales. There you go, Kathy. Getting out of my comfort zone. So Kristen said the 20% I had to get out of my comfort zone. David, I was a car salesman for 3 months and then hired as a used car manager and went on to sales and finance manager. I was definitely faking it until I made it. Yes. And you 10x yourself in the process. You stood in, you wore that suit, you embodied that person, you stepped into the identity of someone that's now a finance manager. This is huge. I went to a branch manager role last July, but then the company got shut down. So I'm getting the proper training. Nice. Leaving an abusive marriage and going from underwriting to commission wholesale rep. But Wendy, thank you for sharing that. Yes, changing up relationships is a 10x, especially our love relationships. Headed to a realtor. Okay. All right. So you guys have come up with an idea, at least one, that you've had a 10x. And even if it's just taking your current income and going back to when you earned 1/10 that income, it might have been when you were 14 years old working at the subway. But think about the person you were then to the person you are now and how you made that jump once. If you can make it once, you can make it over and over and over again. It's the same mechanics. All right. So let's talk about freedom. So, what bothers you now? What do you want to get freedom from? Okay. Maybe it's being around somebody who's narcissistic. Maybe it's whiners and complainers. Maybe it's internal. I want freedom from criticizing myself. I want freedom from tearing myself down. I want freedom from self doubt. I want freedom from laziness. I want freedom from yelling and screaming in the house. I want freedom from entitled people. I want freedom from codependency. I want freedom from exhaustion, from being grumpy. Freedom from sweet snacks. Yeah, I want freedom from addiction of any kind. Freedom from scrolling, freedom from any of that. All right. And then what do we want freedom to? What kind of time freedom would you like in your life? That sense of timelessness, of play, where you've got an abundance of time. What does that look like for you? What kind of freedom do you want in your time freedom? For me, initially, it was like, I want to be able to put my phone away for dinner time. I want that kind of freedom to where I can sit in a meal and be completely present. And then it was, I want freedom to be able to take the weekends off or one weekend off and have other people on my team rotate. And then I want freedom from people calling my cell phone. I want them to call the office. And then I want freedom from, you name it, on and on and on and on. You've got to imagine it to start creating it, right? Matt said, I want freedom to actually be able to take time and relax. How about taking a vacation without your phone? Huge, huge freedom. All right, money freedom. What is money freedom that you want? What would money freedom empower you to do that you're not doing now? How about just hiring the best specialists in the world for whatever you want? You need some body work, hire great body workers. You need a great therapist, hire great therapists. You need great tutors, hire great tutors. You need great coaches in every way, hire great coaches, advisors. It's amazing when you feel like you can hire the best. What about staying at the best hotels? What about upgrading in your airline? What about taking your family on trips? Your extended family, your parents, your in-laws? What about buying that second home? Yeah, what about not looking at the price tag first, then looking at the meal second of anything, of a car, of a hotel, of a pair of jeans? Money freedom, paying off debt. Yeah, being debt free, paying off my mortgages. Yeah, retiring my wife. Nice. All right, next, purpose freedom. So, purpose freedom means like the way I get to express this now is like I'm in the mortgage business, but I get to do what I'm doing with you all today. This is what makes my soul sing. This is what I'm obsessed about. This is what I would study with every ounce of the free time I have on any vacation, any airplane, anywhere. Galen will tell you, I would study things like this, like expansion, freedom, growth, joy, abundance, spirituality. That's purpose that I want to have. And I'm still doing it in the mortgage business. Those are the conversations I'm having. That's the stuff I'm crazy about. And I want to have the purpose freedom to be able to do that wherever I land and whatever I'm doing. Maybe it's taking more time with people. Maybe it's guiding. Maybe it's leading. Some people are so nurturing. I love these people. A purpose freedom could be creating a harmonious environment, making people feel seen. What about being humorous? Some of you are humorous. My purpose is to make people laugh all day, every day. I happen to think my purpose is to help people wake up. I'm one of those people who are like, wake up. And I just love doing that. I feel like I'm a catalyst in other people's world. I'm somebody that says, I see you and you're brilliant. And here's what you want. Let's go. And I believe in you. And we're gonna do this. So my catalyst, being a catalyst is a purpose freedom. All right. And then what about relational freedom? What about the freedom to be yourself, to be 100% honest, to be as emotional as you are, and to love yourself wholly and completely for the both and, for being intense and serious and emotional and weak and playful and being strong and resilient and being needy and tired and being able to be all that you are. And how about just be with people? Not performing, not with a mask on, not people pleasing, and certainly not keeping our mouth shut and putting up with bullshit. Whiners, negativity. Like, I'm just at the stage of my life, I don't hang out with anybody that bugs me. Zero. I don't put any time into it. I don't care where I'm. I don't care if I'm at a PTA meeting or school meeting or a kid soccer game. I just won't do it. If you're dragging me down, I'm out. Like, I don't do it. All right, last page. So what is your clear 10x? You do not have to describe this in stone, but every time I've read this book, I've challenged myself to describe it. All the things that you said you don't want, all the things that you do want, the descriptor adjectives of who you are now and where, how that might not be in alignment with who you want to be. What does that 10x look like for you? By the way, the 10x I'm working on right now is a 30-year journey. I've got an income, I got a net worth number. It's a 30-year wealth plan I'm working on. 30 years. I'm not working on trying to build 1,000 temples. I'm building one cathedral. I'm working on one big legacy. I'm being a steward of the money. So it's a 30-year plan. But now I'm totally alive in it. I feel purpose with it. I see it. I see legacy in it. You might be in this season or stage where you're making 10Xs every 2 years because you're going from rugged individualist to surrendered coaching student to dialed in systematic leader that is calm, that is not reactive, that's proactive. You might be that person who's stressed out all the time and you're now the grandparent that's on the floor with your kids and you're strong and healthy and you're taking them on hikes and you're running a 5K and you're running with your grandson in his next half marathon. So I'm going to give you another 30 seconds and as many notes as you can put in here that says, what would a 10X be for me? What would make me feel come alive? Thank you, Daniel. I think vulnerability. Yeah. For some of you, maybe it looks like sobriety. For some of you, it looks like being a team leader, being a rainmaker, having standards. For some of you, it might be being on the stage at church every week, like actually doing the thing that you've always known in your heart that you want to do. And now you're doing it. You're 10Xing. Reversing my diabetes. Hell yes. Becoming, a meditator every day. And here's all the ways that helps me show up in these roles that I have. Zena and I love that. Be Hawaii's preeminent mortgage partner. Nice. And you could define that. Be Hawaii's preeminent mortgage partner, which is a top 3 by volume, most profitable, highest reviews, earning $1 million a year with a 4-day work week. What's the thing you've not allowed yourself to be, do, or have? And what would you like to give yourself permission to be, do, or have? Speaking up for me, I never gave myself time freedom, ever. I've given myself money freedom. I've given myself the ability to have purpose freedom, relational freedom I did, but I never gave myself time freedom. I really had to work on my worthiness and saying, I deserve it. What is my definition of success? And it's sustainability. And it's being engaged and playful and full of energy and inspired. And if I don't give myself time freedom, I will not be those other things. But for so long, I believed I had to be the first one in, the last one out, always working. I never showed anybody that I was resting or on vacation because I probably wasn't ever resting. I didn't allow myself to rest. I did enjoyment when I thought it was what I was supposed to do. My life was more about performance than actually living. So if you can relate with anything I'm saying, then now you have to define it. If you've not given yourself permission to rest, what does 10X look like in rest? If you've never loved yourself, what does 10Xing mean in loving yourself? Naz, I never gave myself the freedom to enjoy vacations and be completely unplugged. Yep. Self-care, give as much to myself as I do my others. Yep, Susan. All right, so the transformational piece is you are going to move from what to what? You saw on my journey that I said I'm moving from a rugged individualist to a rainmaker or to a structured leader. I'm moving from chaotic to peaceful, from insecure to confident, from in control to open-hearted and open system. What transformation is it that you're looking for? Or what direction? If you would put that in the chat, I'm kind of wondering where you're wanting to move from and to. How would you describe it? Kathy says from being just busy to being more productive with higher results. How about being impactful? From being busy to being impactful. Thank you, Jules. Chaotic to structured. Thank you, Olivia. Chaos to structured. Nice. In controlled open system, I relate. A dinosaur to a new age man. All right, Ray. Greg, from scattered to focused. Kim, disorganized to submitting. Yeah, surrender. Surrender to a plan, being guided, being directed, using your tools. Reactive to proactive, cruise control to overflowing. Yes, and being safe, feeling safe. Chaotic life to peace, inconsistent mess to clear, confident leader. So, Austin, as I coach people, I always say you need to be a loam, LOAM, less of a mess. Okay. Us driven, wild, big energy, desired people, we are going to be messy at times because it's just flowing out of us. So don't harm what is so brilliant about your life force, but through structure, through tools, through self-reflection, we can always become a little bit less of a mess. Okay. But we are not going for perfection. You'll learn that coaching with me. Screw perfection. We're going in the direction. All right, so this is clarifying. What are the 20% strategies or activities that will drive your 10x? If you were going to go from that $280,000 man to the $2.8 million earner, what is the 20% that will give you 80% of your results? If you're going to go from chaotic to structured, if you're going to go from barely surviving to confidently successful, scared to confident, what are the 20%? I will tell you, being coachable and being guided is is a huge part of this. Okay? Huge. Because if you already had the answers, you would already be in that 10x future. If you already had all the school skills, capabilities, the quickest, easiest plan, you'd be there. So sometimes it's just surrendering that I'm ready to be guided. I now know what I want. Guide me there. Okay. And that's getting guidance from a higher power, getting guidance from your plan, and getting guidance from a coach, right? All right. And the final thing is, how will you transform in the process? How will your life be different? How will you experience joy, peace, tranquility? All right. So the steps to 10x are right here. First, you must commit, then be courageous. Once you are courageous, you will gain capability. I cannot stress this enough. Most people want to wait until they're capable and they feel motivated and they feel confident. That comes last. You just have to commit first. You have to believe that you're worth it, that your life is worth it, that you now see something that you can't unsee. And once you commit and you show up and you take courageous action in your life, even in the most micro ways, you relax your shoulders, you let out a breath, you step up a little more confidently, you start moving in micro action ways in the direction of where you want to go. I'm telling you, it all compounds. But it's courageous acts that people probably do not see and do not clap and applaud you for and don't wave out into the freeway. But it's an internal game that we are playing. Your 10x is yours. It is not because you're looking for attention or affection or acceptance from anyone else. I spent over 42 years living my life looking for those things. What do I need to do to impress others? What do I need to do to gain somebody's attention? How do I stay on top? How do I stay relevant? How do I do all that? And it's exhausting. That is survival. What I'm moving to now is to thriving, not surviving, but thriving. What do I want? What would impress me? And so this is the stuff that I coach and talk about in Catalyst all the time. Okay. We are now in open enrollment for the next 12 days. And here's the process I'm going to take you through. I'm going to continually challenge you to expand your vision and your standards. This is so important because you're not going to just come on one call and hear this one time and go, boop, I'm changed. You got to read the book. You got to show up. You got to do the deep dive. You have to keep asking yourself these questions and expand your vision. Then you've got to simplify your strategy. You've got to get rid of the 80% of the noise and the weak, crappy, ineffective stuff that we hide behind and do what really matters. Third, you've got to identify and remove non-essentials, then develop mastery in unique areas. You want to be a leader? We've got to work on your leadership. You want to be a salesperson? We got to work on your sales skills. You will develop mastery in your unique areas with your unique ability. And then you will learn to lead and empower others who share in this exciting vision of yours. So these are the 4 C's: commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. So why we're going to pursue 10X together in Catalyst. First of all, remember this: your brain just wants to work on something. And your brain does not make distinction if what you are working on is reasonable or unreasonable. It doesn't. So if you are working on an unreasonable goal in the company of other people working on unreasonable goals, it becomes reasonable. Like, this is the magic of being in community with 10X thinkers and people. So how do you make the freedom happen? In Catalyst, here's how I help you. Okay. There's a weekly coaching call. It's at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays. You can show up every week, or you can diligently watch the replays like so many of our students do. I have 2 tools. I have the Catalyst Planner and I have the Catalyst Sales Attack Book. This is where you will prepare, you will track everything, you will know exactly how to stay on track. Okay. There's a planner and there's a sales attack book. Okay. These are life-changing tools. If you're in Catalyst, you can speak up and talk about how powerful these tools are for keeping you on track, keeping you accountable, keeping you focused on the entire balance of your life, coming in focused with a purpose. There's so much that goes on there. I'm going to hold you accountable by having you fill out a survey each week. And I read these. I want to know where you're struggling, where you're succeeding, so that I can tailor my content and coaching to helping you break through the limits or simplify the strategy that'll get you there. And then we do a monthly progress report so we can track and recognize your growth. Most people struggle to celebrate their progress or see their progress. So if you want to come into Catalyst, here's the deal. It's $395 a month. If you sign up for the quarter, you get a little bit of a discount. It's $1,085 for the quarter. So if you do loans for a living, you have to ask yourself, if I spend 3 months with Shayla in this badass community, thinking about abundance, working on these 80% and getting rid of it, leaning into being curious and open-minded and visible and all the things that you just said today, will I get the ROI? Will it be worth the, $1,100 that I'm investing? I want people who want to commit. I love being around people who are desperate for extraordinary, who want breakthroughs, and who are going to put their money, time, and energy behind those goals. They're not just people who talk the talk, but they walk the walk. And I know if you were like me in the first 6 years of my career, I had no time, literally no time. But I was not going to change unless I changed. If I didn't put any new tools or systems or challenge my beliefs, I was never, ever going to get out of being a rugged individualist, ever. And so I had to have the faith and I had to create the space. Sometimes you got to slow down to speed way up. You've got to tighten things up to get it smooth, because when smooth happens, you go fast. So this is what it is. If you are a guild, please sign up through the guild link, because we do internal billing. We can take it out of your commission registers and your BDAP. If you're non-guild, obviously you sign up here. We have a large group of people. I've been at this for a long time. Oh, some of you are signing up, I think, because I'm getting dings in the system. So welcome to Catalyst. Several of you are probably already on my 4-week sales attack challenge, and this is the next step. I only open enrollment once a quarter. for like 10 days. And that's it because we're going to do a new member orientation call. I believe that's the end of March, March 26th. And then we're going to do a planner orientation call. So when you sign up, you'll get in the portal, you'll set yourself up, you could start learning and orienting yourself, you'll get oriented. And then we're going to do a special call for all students who want to attend so you can set your planner up for Q2. Okay. So all my existing members, you might want to come out of that because it's going to happen on March 31st. So you will go into Q2, you'll have a planner, you'll have your goals outlined, you'll have a rhythm and routine for how we document and focus, and then you'll get live coaching every week. So the only reasons not to join Catalyst, seriously, is that you already have a badass coach working with you on your 10X. And for all of you that are in Elevate coaching, small group coaching is my favorite. You cannot hide. And you need to be out loud about where you're going. What is your 10X? What are the things that cause you to self-sabotage and self-doubt? Ask to be held accountable, be surrendered, be coachable, and whatever program you do, you will make the gains. I promise that all the effort compounds. Yep, I will put that back up there. So just really quick, the doors close on March 24th. The first two calls are at the end of March, and we will mail you your sales attack tracker, and you will go order your Catalyst planner. Okay. For all of you who have been around, I'm giving a 50% discount on the planner this quarter. It's $97. So you're going to have to pay $50 for your planner. And then this is going to come to you for free. I have to do the shipping in 2 different ways. But these tools are going to really light you up. Okay. This link takes you to my website. So I'm going to do the drawing. Does anybody else want to get randomly into my Instagram DMs? All right, I'm going to stop my share. How do I do that? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to just like flip and tell you who wins because the winner is going to get 1 free month of Catalyst. Okay, so it's a $395 prize. And here we go. Okay, Susie. Who is Susie on Instagram? Your name on Instagram is just Susie, Susie, and it's at SEGP. I'm going to follow you back and I'm going to message you. Are you here, Susie? Is that you? We got to work on your Instagram, girl. Yay. All right. So Susie Greco Perry, you're the winner. My team will reach out to you. This is a great time for me. I have 12 more minutes, you guys, to answer any questions about Catalyst, about your 10X, about somewhere that you feel stuck. So there is a reaction button at the bottom. You can raise your hand. If you click on the reaction button, you raise your hand and I can call on you. But we've got a few more minutes here. As I'm waiting for somebody to ask a question, we'll go ahead and put the code back up. Yes, I can do that. Go ahead and put in the chat. What surprised you about today? What did you learn about yourself? What about this process surprised you? Share with me in the chat what that was. All right. Ray, I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead. Come off mute.
Thanks, Shayla, for all the information that you put out and for your energy that you put into the presentation. What would you say should be the initial time expectation that we should be committing to the coaching piece?
That's a great question. I'm going to ask you to do a hot 15 in your planner every day. So what that means is I want you to start creating some rituals in your life. Because when you think about this is my 10X, this is the man I want to be, this is the way I'm transforming, this is what it looks like for me to be on fire. Now you've got to put in some standards and some rhythms and rituals into your life. So I never had these in my personal life. Okay. I was pretty dialed in at work once I got coached, but my home life, my high heels were on the counter. I never went to bed at the same time. I never woke up at the same time. I never did the same things because I was just comfortable in chaos. So one of the first things I'm going to do, Ray, is say, okay, this planner, you're going to sit with this sucker every morning for 15 minutes. You're going to look at your calendar and you're going to put your calendar out. You're going to look at calls that you want to make because you're a rainmaker and you're going to come in and you're going to have your tracker and you're going to track your calls and you're going to track your meetings and you're going to come in with the top 3 things, right? So I hope that this doesn't feel like extra coaching, but that this is now becomes a way of life, that you don't feel right in your day coming in all without a plan, that you take time for that. The second thing is every Sunday, I ask my students, and it could be Monday morning, to do something called a PPC, a pulse check and preparation. There's 2 pages in the planner every weekend where you sit down and you do a reflection on the week before. What worked, what didn't work, what were my top 3 for the week? How do I take great care of myself this week? And it's a really great time to chart out your entire week because there's a whole 1-page calendar that has the whole week. And this helps me delegate. This helps me refocus and recalibrate what I'm doing, especially the places I fell down that weren't in alignment with my 10X. If I was grumpy, if I was tired, if I am overbooked, I catch myself and I recalibrate and readjust. So outside of those home activities, you come to the live call every Tuesday if you can make it live. And again, the replays are in the Catalyst portal, which is a very robust place for all of my trainings and resources. There's tutorial videos on how to use the planner, how to use the sales attack tracker. There's just a ton, plus the community's there. Does that help, Ray? You're off. You're
Thank
back
you.
on mute. Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I probably could have answered that question with like, I probably need about 3 hours a week. And one of them's on my call. It's a 45-minute call. Sometimes I'll stay longer, but I usually keep to about 45 minutes on Tuesdays. So Lacey Boots, come off mute, girl.
Okay, so I'm a really pragmatic person. I'm pretty black and white. Like I really liked the exercise of like, what does drifting feel like? What does driven feel like? What does directed feel like? But for people that are maybe struggling with coming up with what that actual 10x vision looks like, I struggle to get that creative or to get like to envision that. Do you have any examples? I love how he talks in the book about the Keller Williams gal that like had 10x after 10x after 10x, that she didn't see her ultimate 6th 10x at the very beginning when she started. So what would you recommend for somebody who's like trying to dream of what that looks like but is struggling?
Laura and I are working on this right now, and I'm calling it the Rainmaker way, because there is a growth path, pure and simple, just in the business, right? Like Lacey, are you 28?
30.
Okay, I got started coaching when I was 29. I had no processor, I had no assistant, I had 0 life balance, I had maximum stress, I was paranoid all the time. I had confidence that I could work hard, but not real confidence that the business would keep coming. So the first leap for me was, okay, now I track things. So I actually know what the hell I'm doing on a daily basis. Then I use some time blocking. Then I have a process and a system for how I take leads and how I follow up with them. And then here's when I can hire somebody, and here's how I onboard them, and here's the checklist, and here's how I hire a second one. And here's how I now go from marketing myself as the Michael Jordan to now marketing myself as we're the Bulls, and the Bulls are the championship team. And then how do I then duplicate myself now as a coach? Because I figured out enough stuff to then be able to duplicate as a coach. And then as I've done that as a coach, now I do that as a leader in my branches. And then how do I duplicate satellite branches and create the culture I've got in Reno with the culture in Elko and the culture in Arizona? And so I could go on and on. So
Right.
you don't have to, especially at 30 years old, you don't have to see your 10, what might be fun for you. What's your highest income year?
330.
Great. So 3 million is your next like 10x number, right? And the Lacey that was able to produce 330, you know who that Lacey is. But you can imagine who's a Lacey that makes 3 million a year, right? What kind of vibe does she have? How does she walk in the room? How does she nurture herself? How does she lead and communicate? And so it's all those kind of fine things, but you don't have to know that is to make 3.3 million. That's a branch that's $1 billion with 40 loan officers. You don't have to know all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I get stuck in like, what's the job title of the 10X person? And I think it's just becoming. I think that's why I really liked the PDF, because I feel like I can craft what my 10x personality is. Like, I want to be more enjoyable to be around, less intense, more intentional. So I think those are maybe the pieces, and if that's helpful for anybody else, like, how do we just become the kind of 10x people we want to be, and the position or the title or the role follows?
What was your volume last year?
25.1 million.
And what's your next notch? Not
40.
not 10x notch. So 40 is the next notch. And that's what you're actively pursuing. This year, next year, you're going to hit 40 million. Okay.
This year.
So you're already 10xing just by going from 25 million to 40 million, because there's so many things that you're refining and refining and refining and refining, that for me to take you for a minute and zoom way out and go, Lacey, you can and will be a $3 million a year income earner if you want to be, and a present engaged mother, and a girl that can relax and laugh and be silly as hell and all these things. Now you're 28. It might be my age of 45, but if you got there, would you be okay with it?
Yeah.
Would you be proud of the transformation that you made?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing, that we have to get rid of this bullshit. Like, well, what is the title? What is the exact how? When it's more of like this guiding light, so that when you get stuck in pity party and victim mode and limiting belief thinking and I'm not worthy and all this bullshit, the 80%, you can go, this isn't part of the 10x, right? And your 10x of 40 million, you could see it better, because you can be like, okay, I know that looks like 1 to 2 people on my team. It looks like this many leads. It looks like this much activity. But I want you to do that with the essence of 10x, not just more, more, more. Because if you can do it with the essence of 10x, you'll blow way past 40 million, instead of getting to 40 million and dropping dead with exhaustion and burnout.
Right.
Because it's just a stop along the way. And believe
I
me,
did that yesterday with an
stop on the way.
opportunity somebody invited me to, of like, does 10x me say yes to this? Does
There
10x
you go.
me sign on? So thank you. Thanks, Shay.
Your question's awesome, and thank you for being so open. And this is how Catalyst goes, if you wanted to know. Thank you. Anyone else want to come off mute or throw their hand in the air? Brian said, when should we plan to be in Nashville for traveling plans? Oh, Billy already responded to that, Brian. We do have an event coming up in Nashville on April 10th. It's going to be a one-day event by top producers, for top producers. I'm pretty excited about it. All of you who DM'd me on Instagram, I'll send that to you. We'll be friends. I want to hear about what came up for you on 10X. So we'll do some DMing. Whoever DM'd me, we're going to be DMing. Amanda Blakely, thank you. Love sitting down and thinking about what I want freedom to and freedom from. Thank you. The Hot 15 is a game changer. I agree. All right, we have come to time. I just want you to know that no matter where you've been, where you're at, no matter how stressful and whatever excuses we want to make about this volatile, hard industry we're in, all of those are your story. They're not the story. And I remember when my husband said to me one day, because I was like, babe, this is just how it is in the mortgage business. And he's like, I just think you're doing it wrong. And I wanted to be like, oh, like, what do you know? Like you're a stoner snowboarding in Tahoe. Like, and I'm cranking out 300 grand a year as a college dropout, like I'm a big deal. And it was my ego getting in the way. And it was my blindness getting in the way. And it was my fear getting in the way. And it was the stories and the beliefs that I was putting in place because I didn't know any other way. And honestly, I was scared. And so if that's where you are, it's normal. This is so normal. But you can't change without making change. So this is a delineation in the ground. You've now seen some version of 10X. You've played with what it looks like for you to be on fire. You've thought about what you want freedom to and freedom from. Now it's about believing that you deserve it and giving yourself permission to go after it. And surround yourself with people and be in rooms and environments where there's other people that are unashamedly going for it. Because then life gets really juicy, because we're going to screw up, fall over, make a fool of ourselves, fail, all the things. we're gonna come up against our perfectionism. We're gonna come up against our fear all the time. But if you're surrounded with other people that are cheering you on and are doing it with you, and you realize I'm normal and I have the right to do this, and I can expand constantly, life truly is limitless. So thank you for being on this call today. Thank you for being in my life. I'm super excited to have you. I hope you join Catalyst. If you're going to join, take action now. It's so much easier to get you set up when you don't delay. You get signed up, you get in the portal, and we'll get you your resources so that we can start you strong in the beginning of the quarter. And to all my existing students in Catalyst, I love you guys. I'm so honored I get to do this. And we're going to crush it this quarter because this is the energy we're carrying all the way through. So thank you. Feel free to come off mute and send the love around. But that is a wrap. Bye, everyone. Bye, Sarah. See you, Julie. Bye, guys.